Hello and welcome to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Joe DeMarini. Joe, how we doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We had a very nice snowy weekend. It was very calm. It was very peaceful. And nothing else happened at all in the world or world news. There was nothing else. And we could just talk about hockey.
Yeah, I think the sports news has been the major thing, especially in this country over the past 24 hours, 48 hours here.
Correct.
Eagles' big win on Sunday.
Go Birds.
Yep. Go Birds, definitely there. It's been a long week. We haven't recorded since last Monday, and a successful week for the Flyers. I mean, we recorded before that Panthers game. They went down 2-0, stormed back. The floodgates are fully open now with Noah Cates getting that goal. Shootout loss in Columbus the next night. Kind of disappointing. Zach Werenski showing why he's in the Norris Trophy race. Islanders game. We're going to get right into that, of course. And then at the Devils, I did not watch any of this game except for the final 10 seconds. I was driving up to Long Island, and then I got in an Uber and I put the game on my phone. There was 10 seconds left, and I saw Konechny putting in an empty net. So that was
nice.
I saw the Devils had like 5 shots on goal through 2 periods or something crazy like that. So must have been a nice defensive performance there from the Flyers.
Nice is subjective. It was I thought it was a snoozer, just like because not a lot was happening. It was really good hockey. The Flyers played well, but I was just like, oh, can someone do something fun? And then the Devils would do something fun, and I'm like, no, not that. Anything but that.
Yeah, that was your classic Flyers Devils game, like growing up. I mean, you've only been a fan for the past 5 years or so. The Devils have kind of gotten fun now, but that was classic Flyers Devils. 1-0, 2-1, grinded out, overtime, ties, trap defense.
Yeah,
trap defense. Good goaltending. Sam Harrison is back on a roll now since Christmas. I think his save percentage is up over 900. We'll maybe get into that a little bit later, but First of all, we got to make sure you check out Bet Online. It continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from football to NBA, college basketball to NHL and UFC. Bet Online is the number one sports betting source for the new year. From touchdowns, three-pointers, and hat tricks, Bet Online has you covered on every game, every play, and every win. Bet Online, the game starts here. And all right, before we go, just start with some more Flyer stuff, let's start with some around the league news. Monday night, it came down. Connor McDavid, face of the league, suspended 3 games, along with Tyler Myers, also suspended 3 games. McDavid gave Connor Garland a nice cross check to the face. I believe Myers gave it to Bouchard. So you put here in the show notes, you can hang out with Maxim Tsyplakov here.
Yeah, sure can. 3 games for a cross check to the head. Connor Garland was all over McDavid. Like he was just, it was wild to watch that unfold. Have you seen the clip of the events?
I saw the clip, and Garland talked about it after. He's like, he's the best player in the world. We're up 1. They're in the offensive zone. The best thing I can do is just sit on them, pin them down. Like that's great defense. If you take a penalty, you take a penalty. Like the Oilers, I imagine, how to control the puck. So penalty only gets called if the Canucks touch the puck.
Yeah.
And it doesn't extend into past the period. It would be a 10, 15-second power play. I'm not sure how much time exactly was left there, but that's great defense. And, McDavid, understandably frustrated with that, but you can't cross-check someone in the face there. And
no.
I'm happy to see it. 3 games, I don't think he has any sort of history there. I saw Corey Perry said something today about here's the graphic. Why aren't we protecting the superstars? Every other league does it. Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James, go down the list. Well, I mean they are, but you have to hold everyone to the same standard.
Also, Connor Garland is not the biggest guy. Hockey Reference.
He's feisty though. He is feisty.
He is. He's listed on Hockey Reference as 5'10", 165. Like he's not a big dude. And every time I see him skating around on there, I'm like, Bobby Brink could take this guy on. But he is a little hellion out there. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, the Flyers Canucks game, Konechny was calling an angry little elf, and Konechny's 5'10" himself. So there's only so many people Konechny can say that to.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, Crosby reacted to it. He just goes like, "Yeah, it's hockey. Like, shit happens. Whatever." Like, Yeah, so that's fun. It's a shame the Flyers don't have the Oilers in the next couple games because that would be. They've already played them twice, though, right? They've
Yeah,
had their
I
two.
think they're done with the Oilers for the time being. But the Capitals are in Edmonton today, and
Yeah,
Ovechkin was quoted saying, "Sucks for him, good for us." Which, yeah, no McDavid for first game of a road trip for the Capitals, who are
it's good for
still red
me.
hot.
It's
Yeah,
good for me too because Logan Thompson is my goaltender tonight
he's
for fantasy.
Logan Thompson's been insane this season for Washington. Yeah.
Crazy. If he was in a full starters role, he'd absolutely be in the Vezina conversation. But
Well, who knows if his numbers would be that good? Maybe it is the split that's helping him.
well, he's been doing it himself for the past like 3 weeks with Lindgren out. So if down the stretch he's still it, I don't know how long Lindgren will be out for the Caps, but I mean,
Good point there. Yeah,
he could make a late run at it. Although Hellebuck is just,
Hellebuck has it. I think
I mean,
even if he gets hurt at this point, he might still have it.
yeah, I think it was like the NHL Edge data for like the save percentage of like it's like an octagon and it fills
Yes.
in with
Yeah.
like which goalie is doing well. And his lowest was like a 94% for
Oh.
mid-range shots. And someone was like, damn, Connor, you got to clean those ones up. Everything else was at like 99 percentile. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hellebuck's great there. Another Canadian team. Speaking of the Canucks, they've been a lot of drama there with JT Miller, with Elias Pettersson. We talked about should the Flyers pay up for Pettersson, and it looks like the Canucks are rightfully looking to trade JT Miller and keep Elias Pettersson, which was the logical choice. Apparently, he was close to being held out of Saturday night's game, and with a trade with the Rangers, but that was nixed. It was Philip Hedl, Ryan Lindgren, Charlie Lindgren's brother, speaking of Lindgren as well, a first round pick and other future assets. And the sticking point was the protection on the first round pick going from the Rangers, who are quite bad this year, to the Canucks there. I mean, Miller was in New York once already. Like they can take him back.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you look at that, and basically that would be Morgan Frost, Igor Zamula, and a first. Like
Lindgren's better than Igor. It'll be maybe Andrae-ish, maybe York and do a second instead of a first, like something like that. But it wouldn't be Zamula. Zamula has been better though recently. And I saw the Broad Street Hockey Blue Sky account, skeeting that out there.
Yeah, he has been. I mean, Zamula's been better. I guess Lindgren has a better track record of being good, so that's part of it. Hedl, I guess, has more potential, but the injury history is quite concerning. I don't know. Flyers shouldn't be trading for JT Miller anyway. That would be foolish. So perfectly happy that maybe they do have the assets to make that happen. I'm glad they aren't. But if they do end up moving Pettersson, then like that's probably half the package that it would take to get Pettersson. Would you say?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What would that be? Yeah, you said Frost. Even if it was Frost, York, and a first, maybe that's a little bit more than half the package, but yeah, that's still just the starting point.
Yeah, Frost, York, a first, maybe two firsts. I mean, it depends. The Canucks have said we're open to whatever. Basically, we're flexible on what you give us. But let's not beat around the bush. They have their core. Quinn Hughes is there right now, and he's putting up another Norris caliber season. Like
he's putting up a Hart caliber season.
A Hart caliber season. He's unreal. But like, you need someone who will supplement and like help this core right now in the short term, and not just a bunch of future assets to kick the can down the road. Unless you think you can turn those future assets into help right now, but then like that's a risk in itself. So I don't know. They might be just looking for roster players, and if that's the case, the Flyers are a little bit behind other teams that could get in there. Like I saw in The Athletic that Mark Lazarus, who's the beat writer for the Blackhawks, he's like, the Hawks should be moving everything they can, and the only people that are protected are Bedard and maybe Artem Levshinov, who they just drafted. So that would be like Frank Nazar, Oliver Moore, Lucas Reichel, like
Seth Jones, maybe if they want a right-hand defenseman.
I mean, if there was retention, maybe, yeah. But no, it would take It would take a lot, and it doesn't look like they're going to move him. Although there were rumors that Demko has also said he wants out of Vancouver, which is just what's going on there, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for a little bit, it was looking like Flyers West. I saw Vancouver people being like, "Oh, Tockett's got to go. Go ahead, fire Tockett. Bring him back home to Philly." I love
Not too
Tockett here
bad.
in Philly, but yeah, I mean, he won the Jack Adams last year running away. I'm pretty sure. Like he's turned the Canucks around, and no, I mean, sure, he can't manage this JT Miller, but it looks like no one can there. But all in all, this is to say we got a few good podcasts, got a few good articles out of these Pettersson rumors, but it was never going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
No. Although, when Danny did his presser today, we were all hoping he's saying, "Oh, we're dusting off jersey number 40. Stay tuned." That'd be fun. But alas,
break out those Jordan Wheel jerseys. Get ready to change the nameplate. Throw on Pettersson there.
Was Jordan Wheel number 40?
Jordan Wheel number 40. I think LeCavier was also number 40. So that was not good history of number 40s for the Flyers so far, unless there was some way back when. We'll get some comments probably.
Doesn't bode well. Doesn't bode well for Pettersson then.
Yeah. One more thing I want to mention here in league news, semi-Flyers related, is former Flyer Zach McEwen has announced he's taking a leave of absence. Apparently, he's his father passed away some time ago, and he's taking time away. So all the best there to Zach Mack. He was an enjoyable player when he was in Philadelphia.
He made this team fun when it was so not fun, and he had a killer mustache and just brought like a lot of good vibes.
Yeah.
Ottawa did well to pick him up, I think.
Yeah. Also, switching gears to the Flyers here, sending good vibes to Scott Lawton and his family. He is out for tonight's game, Tuesday night's game, which, I mean, it must be something major. I know he just had a recent child. It could be something with his family. Who knows? But, like, for him to miss Pride Night, it has to be something serious. So Joel Farabee's going to be there in his stead. Good for Joel there. But all the best to Scott and his family. Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Yeah, and props to Joel Farabee for stepping up. Like, I know he's in a lot of trade rumors and stuff, but it's clear that he's not wearing a letter, but he clearly has stature in that locker room and clearly has some sort of a leadership bit of clout. So that's good. We can call him
the Mojo Dojo.
The Mojo Dojo, exactly.
Yeah.
I was trying to make an LGBT Farabee joke in there somewhere. I can't quite crack that one. I'll have to workshop that one.
LG
GBT.
Farah BTQ plus. It's a stretch, but aren't they all? Aren't they all?
I'll workshop it.
What? Speaking of stretching, Maxim Tsyplakov stretched his elbow out a little bit to not even elbow. It was just shoulder, just straight into Ryan Poehling's head there early in the first period of the Flyers game on Long Island on Thursday night. No penalty on the play. The refs reviewed it. Clean hit on the ice, but of course Ryan Poehling left the game. The next day he had a hearing, suspended 3 games, which keeps him out through the rematch on Long Island on Thursday night, I believe that is. But he will be eligible to play in Philadelphia next Thursday. So it must be this Friday on Long Island, and then next Thursday here at home. So yeah, that was Joe, you're right. Fuck the Islanders.
Fuck the Islanders. Fuck the New York Islanders, man. There is no team that I have a more visceral reaction to. I fucking hate the New York Islanders. Also lost in all this, Scott Lawton got fined $5,000 in that game for a cross check on Tsyplakov. I think it was on Tsyplakov.
It was on Tsyplakov, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that team, man. I'm so glad that the Flyers, they went headhunting for a bit. Farabee called on that ticky-tacky hook or hold or whatever the hell it was. They went into the intermission, and instead of continuing that, like, spiraling, and Travis Konechny luckily coming back on the ice because he had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
They just go out there and kick the shit out of the Islanders. It was great. I was so happy. I'm like, oh my God, 5 goals for what was it? 5-3?
5-3, yeah.
That's more goals scored in one Flyers Islanders game than have been scored in like the past 5 Flyers Islanders game. Don't fact check that. I'm sure it's correct, but
it just feels right. It feels right. The vibes feel right there. Yeah.
It feels right. Ugh.
Yeah, and the Islanders, 2 of their 3 goals were on the power play, which they hadn't scored in like over a month. And of course, they got 2 in one game. But yeah, Flyers, credit to them, settling down at intermission. Torts was asked after the game, what he did to reset the team. He's like, I didn't do anything. We got good guys in there. They just wanted to go win it for Pales, and they did. So, got Coots, Hathaway, Frost, Cam York, and then the empty netter from Noah Cates there. So,
and 3 assists by one Travis Konechny.
3 assists by TK. Yeah, he's been on fire. It was very scary seeing him going into the boards, and we always talk about he gets up and he winces a lot, but that
was bad.
He was really wincing there, and then
it wasn't a dirty hit either. It was just like an awkward play. Yeah. He just lost his edge and flew into the boards. And he's fast. Like that hurts.
He's fast. He's reckless out there. He just throws his body around, and
he walked off, and then like he wasn't on the bench to start the second, and then like the ringer coming out of the room down to the wire, you see him come like trundling out. Oh, that was peak. And then he went out there and got 3 points. One was a shorty, right?
One was a shorty.
It was halfway.
The pass to Hathaway. Yeah, just beautiful pass there. So
yeah, it was.
And it was against Sorokin, right? Sorokin was in net for that one. We weren't sure who would get the start, and they were able to put up 4 on Sorokin plus the empty netter. And
never happens.
Yeah, in that Devils game, I was short selling how Sam Erson's been since the holiday break. He did have that short outage with the groin injury, but since the holiday break, 7 starts, 6-1, 11 goals allowed in those 7 games, 930 save percentage, including a shutout against the Ducks and a combined shutout against the Sharks there. So 2 bad teams, but he's been great recently. A few leaky ones early against the Panthers, but he came back with a few huge saves late in that one after a brutal Morgan Frost turnover. And yeah, he
saved like
arguably won.
5 shots in a row right there, like beautiful cross crease saves. Like, Sammy.
Yeah,
keep doing that.
I'm starting to think the Flyers might just be on the reverse trajectory of last year. Last year, great start, faded down the stretch. This year, horrible start, but since the last 25 games, they have the best expected goals for% in the league at 5-on-5, according to Natural Stat Trick, at 58.43. That's almost 2 whole percentage points above the Panthers at 56.62, Devils 56, Oilers 55. Like, since this Cates line has been put together, it's just been incredible. And they may have found another line that works well here with Joel Farabee, Sean Couturier, and Matvei Michkov.
Just on the subject of expected goals for percentage, Rod Brindamore, who? Anyway, Michkov, Farabee, Coots. I was so stoked to see that line together because on paper it should work. We've been begging for Coots to get some minutes with Michkov at 5-on-5 because it just seems like they would mesh well because Coots thinks the game at such a high level. So far, that looks to be the case. The only reason there were 2 reasons they couldn't do it to start the year. Number 1, they wanted to, well, actually 3 now that I think about it. They wanted to reduce Michkov's minutes. He couldn't do the 20 minutes a night that Sean Couturier had to do. Number 2, Travis Konechny didn't want to play the left wing, so didn't really leave a spot for Mich on that line. Number 3, the emergence of this Cates line has taken over the toughest matchups. So that has opened up Couturier to play down the lineup, get some slightly easier matchups and like not as many minutes. And then him and Michkov could just cook down there. So I'm stoked for that. Farabee scratched for 3 games. I don't know if they would have kept him scratched for 3 if they hadn't been winning, but he came back and had a 2-point night in his first game back. So shout out Mr. Joel Farabee. No Joel. Should have had a Joel. But
he had a fair assist though.
True.
Yes.
So no, I'm stoked. I'm glad to see that line back together. I don't think they played together.
No, they were never together before. We had Farabee, Couturier, Poehling, the leftovers line as I call it, or not Poehling. Hathaway on the right side there. So that was a leftovers line. But yeah, Farabee, Couturier, and Michkov only been really 2 games, 23 minutes here according to Money Puck, but 85% of the expected goals for share, 1.7 to 0.3. 2 actual goals, 1 goal against there. So, yeah, it makes sense. Couturier's not that fast. Michkov slows the game down. And Farabee, he just hasn't been finishing. And his luck's going to turn around sometimes. He's been generating chances. He goes to the net. That's what you have to do when you're on Michkov's line there. So really liking what I'm seeing out of them. And they need that right now because, I mean, the Tippett, Frost, Konechny line it's good. I'm going back and forth on Frost. The toilet seat is going up and down. He's great offensively, but then some of these turnovers in the defensive zone are just ridiculous. But yeah, it seems like they now have 4 decent lines. Of course, Poehling out. You have to have Lixell or Rodrigo making his NHL debut tonight with Lawton out. But they have 4 second, third lines here rolling, and it's looking good.
Yeah, I love it. I like the Konechny and Tippett together. I think they complement each other well with their speed, so that's fun. And I don't have high expectations for Abels.
I think it's Abels.
Abels.
I remember it being not what I thought in the preseason.
He's from Latvia, and his name's Rodrigo.
Speaks 4 languages apparently. Like, yeah, he's been chugging along here.
Who needs Igor Zamula? No, I don't have high expectations for him. He's 29. This is his NHL debut. Like, if he just holds his own and his break even, I'm gonna be happy with his performance. So
yeah, it's gonna be what him, Lixell, and Hathaway on the fourth line. Big body, 6'4", 205 here. In the AHL this year, he has 19 points in 34 games, which I think is decent. Not sure if he played with Lixell at all in Lehigh Valley. Maybe they do have some chemistry there, but yeah, he was in SHL last year. 26 points in 50 games, 41 points in 51 games as the captain the year before. So, as leadership, plays for Team Latvia there. So, good story. Hopefully he can light the lamp tonight or something. Just make a positive impact.
Yeah. And for everyone who's like, why didn't you bring up Tony Dick? Why didn't you bring up someone? They needed a center. Simple as that. Like, Poehling's out, Lawton's out. Who's your center of that line? You don't have one. So that's the reason he's up here. And
I guess I would have liked to maybe see more out of Massimo Rizzo, but I guess he's just not what we thought he might be able to be. I mean, he was a 7th round pick. They got him basically for free because of the Tony DeAngelo buyout. So yeah,
he had a rough start, I think, for the AHL. He's been better recently, but I don't know if he's quote unquote earned it to get up here. Also, he's younger, and this Abels guy is on a 1-year deal. So if they want to see if he's organizational depth, maybe he's just a good AHLer, they might as well play him and find out now. They've got time with Rizzo. So
yeah, and if he fits, it makes it easier to trade a Frost, trade a Lawton. You have someone who can be even just a quad A player that can plug in on the 4th line and not have a negative impact.
I mean, Ryan Poehling's already the 1C of this team when he's in the lineup, so it works out perfectly well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we don't feel like that's a huge loss for the Flyers losing Poehling, but he's a key penalty killer. He keeps that 4th line together. So we're going to see it now over the next few games. What the domino effect is there.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what is the PK? What are the forwards going to be on the PK? Because Lawton and Poehling are 2 of their key penalty killers. So I imagine it's going to be Konechny, Coots, and I don't know, Kate's Therapy?
Oh yeah, I think I've seen. Has Forster been out there recently? Am I making
Hathaway.
that up?
I forgot about Hathaway.
Hathaway's going to be there. Let me look at who played the PK last game here.
On Daily Faceoff, they have it as Coots, Konechny, and Kate's Hathaway. But that's only the 2 units. I suspect that another forward will probably get some time there.
Forster played 46 seconds on Saturday on the PK. Farabee got 25 seconds. But yeah, Scott Lawton, far and away their most used PKer on forwards. 2 minutes there with Noah Cates. So probably Kate's Hathaway and then
TK. We know he can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a perfect world, they just don't go on the penalty kill. And we don't have to find out. That would be
ideal because I think the Red Wings have the best power play in the league.
Second, I think.
Second best. You wrote the preview, did you not? So
I did.
You should know that. Yeah.
It said, the
second
NHL,
best. Yes, second best. Right behind Winnipeg. But
Winnipeg. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As we all predicted. No, the Red Wings are clicking at, let me see, it's like 28.2%, I think.
Yeah, 28 point something. I just closed out of it, but it was
28.4.
up there.
Yeah. That's pretty freaking good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cal Peterson expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with injury, as I just read on BroadStreetHockey.com.
Ooh,
Also,
yeah.
he wears number 40 for the Phantoms. That number might just be cursed.
He wore 40 for the Flyers, did he not? I think
Did
he may
he?
have. I think he
Oh,
may
okay.
have.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, speaking of the Phantoms, speaking of Phantoms injuries here, Emil Andrae has been out for the past 7 to 10 days here. Briere said, I think he expects or he's hopeful that he'll play this upcoming weekend for the Flyers. So, hopefully he's healthy come trade deadline because, you have to think he would be the call up if the Flyers trade Ristolainen, or do you think they would call up someone like Helge Grans, to fit that right-handed physical shot right-handed shot physical defenseman, and let Andrae cook a little bit more in the AHL?
Okay, before we get to that, sorry, I just want to go back to the Cal Peterson injury. Massimo Rizzo left Friday's game after a big collision with Anthony Richard and missed Saturday's game, so that might be part of the reason he didn't get called up. If Peterson's out, who the hell is playing goal here?
Should have claimed Tristan Jarry.
They claim Tristan Jarry. They don't have the cap space to do that.
No.
Eetu Makanyemi also took a
Is
lower
also
body
out,
injury.
Right?
Yeah. So the Phantoms rolled with a tandem of Parker Gahagan and Keith Petruzzelli. And they did okay, but man, this seems like Alexei Kolosov's music, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Briere talked about Kolosov today at his midseason press conference. It seemed like, from what I read, he's willing to go down to the AHL, but according to here, Briere said that as far as he knows, Kolosov will be willing to go back down to the AHL if that was the decision they came to.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to properly manage the workload of Ersson and Fedotov. And Torch said yesterday on Monday that Fedotov is the number 2 now. So yeah, this is the perfect chance for send Kolosov down. He's the no doubt about it starter. Bring him back up if you need him here. And I know the Flyers have a lot of games in a short amount of time. They got Red Wings here on Tuesday night, and then a back-to-back in New York Thursday and Friday. Then they got 2 days off, home and home with the Devils, and then the Islanders, and then they go out west. So yeah, they don't leave Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, tri-state area there until February 2nd. So send Kolosov down, let him get some action, and if Ersson tweaks something, you call him right back up.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about it. I'm like, dude, Kolosov, you can't play at the NHL level. You're just not ready. No. It's clear as day. Anybody can see that. If you're gonna throw a fit, what are we doing here?
I kind of wonder if there's a part of the Flyers that don't want Kolosov playing behind the Phantoms defense, but that shouldn't be stopping you.
No.
I would rather have him playing beer league against AHLers than sitting in the press box doing nothing.
I mean, maybe the pretzels are nice, but
which is our nice
there,
yeah,
I'm sure they are.
I'm looking at free agent goaltenders currently. You got he who must not be named, Pavel Francouz, Martin Jones, and Aaron Dell. So I wouldn't mind bringing in one of those guys.
Francouz, I think, is never playing again.
He's injured, right? Yeah,
he's bad, career-ending injury. I think.
I believe so. Yeah. Bring back Martin Jones, maybe?
Marty J! Really? Do you really think that Fedotov is worse than Martin
No, I'm
Jones?
saying for the Phantoms. I'm saying...
Oh. Do you think Martin Jones would play for the Phantoms?
Oh, wait, apparently Aaron Dell might be with the... Oh, he's with the Barracuda, so I'm not sure why Puckpedia has him as a free agent, but so yeah, it's Martin Jones as the only goalie that can play legally or physically. If he can still play physically, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Remember when we didn't trade him at the trade deadline of a lost season?
It's hard to make trades, Joe. It's hard to make trades there.
So hard to make trades, but we could transition to the trade deadline on that one. Honestly,
it might be a hard decision at this trade deadline for Danny Briere if he wants to trade Rasmus Ristolainen or others. I'm reading here on this website, BroadStreetHockey.com, an article by Thomas Williams. Briere is not shopping Rasmus Ristolainen despite trade rumors. I don't know yet. There's been teams that have called to inquire, but Ristolainen has been so good for us too, and he's not a rental. For us, there's no rush to trade him. We finally have him healthy. We finally have him playing extremely well. To find a right shot defenseman like that, to play in your top four, to play as physical as he does, they're tough to find. We have him here for us. We get excited thinking about trading him and what kind of return we could get, but I'm not shopping him. I'm not trying to get rid of him. He's a big asset for us, and it would be a big hole for us if we were to lose him. So I really don't know where it's going, but I can tell you I'm not shopping him. I did receive some calls on him, though. So, yeah, Briere is saying what you expect him to say. He's not going out there and trying to trade Ristolainen. He's received calls, and if someone reaches their price, which I have to think is maybe a first-round pick, but
Plus,
a first-round pick plus at this point, I can't imagine he's traded before Four Nations because no team's going to trade that unless there's some sort of injury clause on the deal. But after Four Nations, there's only a few weeks between that and the trade deadline, so you could see the rumors pick up here.
do you think he gets traded at the deadline?
I would say yes. I still think it's a yes. I think we discussed this last show. I think it was 60-40 maybe I was at. And, we did discuss that a offseason trade may be more realistic, but I think there are just so many teams out there that could use a guy like him, get an extra playoff run out of him. The cap's going up. Yeah, an extra one on top of the two that they would get if they got him in the offseason. So I think so. And I think the Flyers know that they can bring up Andrae, they can bring up Grans, they can bring up Bonk next year. Briere brought him up in McDonald as well. So I think so. And especially because there's not a lot of defensemen on the market, especially right shot defensemen like Risto.
So I'm still probably 50-50. But what this does do, the East is a fucking mess. We say it every week. The Eastern Conference is just a jumbled mess for those last two wild card spots. That has an impact on the trade deadline because there are more teams that are still in it down the stretch than in other years. There's no obvious clear-cut sellers necessarily. And some teams that were in a position at the beginning of the season to be expected sellers might actually be buying. You don't know. Like, the Red Wings all of a sudden seem to be putting it together after they fired Derek Lalonde. They're 7-3-0 in their last 10, and they had a 7-game win streak in the midst of that. It is going to create a much steeper market for these quote unquote non-contending teams. Like, their prices are going to go way up because they're like, hey, we're in a playoff race down the stretch here. We kind of need this guy. If you want him, you gotta pony up and really pry him away from us. So I don't mind if this comes down to the 12th. What is it? The 12th? No, 11th hour.
11th
numbers. 11th hours. It was a long weekend. All right.
Yeah.
And just it's too early to make a move. Like you said before, Four Nations doesn't make sense. And maybe the market becomes really, really competitive because of how many teams are still going to be in a playoff race come March.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the parity in the league should benefit the Flyers. Like, Danny Briere should take advantage of that because, they're not going to admit they're out of the playoff race until they're mathematically out of it. And right now they are 3-4 points out of a spot with a game in hand or so on some of these teams. Like, they could be right back in a playoff spot by Four Nations. And, at that point, they have all the leverage with Risto. Like, all right, we can keep him for the playoffs. We can get our young guys some experience, and, we'll touch base with you in the offseason. So these teams with these cores like Dallas, Jamie Benn in his last year, they have, a few guys, I think, in the last year as well. Vancouver, if they want to make a push, get someone to play with Hughes. A few other teams out there. Winnipeg could want a defenseman. Like Edmonton always needs more defense.
Winnipeg, because he has term, and they have such a difficult time retaining players that if they get a guy with term, that helps them out.
Yeah. Thomas also wrote for BrowserJockey.com today. 5 players the Flyers could target in return for Ristolainen. Maverick Bourque of the Dallas Stars is someone I've really been looking at. He seems kind of to be the odd young guy out there. They're not trading Wyatt Johnston. I don't think they're trading Stankoven, and I think at this point Stankoven's probably a winger. I know Bourque's been playing primarily wing, and his faceoff numbers haven't been great, but it seems like, looking at him, he seems like a Danny Briere type player, a little bit undersized, can make nice passes, had great AHL numbers last year. So, he seems like he could be someone where you bring him in, it opens up the door more for a Frost trade, whether it be now or in the off season.
Yeah.
Thomas also brought up Brad Lambert, I believe, of the Winnipeg Jets, which would be very spicy. Like, I think this could be a trade with Ristolainen where if they don't get a first round pick, which they might not, they get a young roster player to help them right now. So it's not just a straight sell. It's like, okay, we're selling, but we're getting a player to still help this team this year and for the future.
Like the Jamie Drysdale trade. Like, I know they had to make that, but he was is rather, I don't know why I say was, but at the time he ostensibly helped the team on a playoff push because he was a right shot defenseman at a position of need and could help run a power play. Mm-hmm. And he's young enough to be part of this for the future. So that was a move that both helped the team in the now and hopefully in the future. And he's looked real good since coming back from injuries. So hopefully he's turned a corner in his game and that continues. But
yeah. So on Drysdale there, like, I do wonder if they're as willing to trade Walker last year if they don't have Drysdale. I imagine they would still trade him. Maybe they get someone better than Eric Johnson at the deadline to fill that spot, or maybe they just give Adam Ginning a bigger role, or Ronnie Attard a bigger role because he was up at that point.
Grans,
I don't think Grans was ready last year. Yeah, Drysdale could be another linchpin here at this trade. Like if he's continue playing well. I have his game log up here. Expected goal 4% relative to his teammates has been positive in the past 4 games. -12 against the Ducks, -6, -7. But like, he hasn't had any real bad games in his past 10, 15 games since coming back from injury. I know you've written at least one piece on that. Like, Drysdale is a key part of this rebuild. He's playing with confidence. That one power play goal pass he made. Was it the Panthers game where Michkov didn't put it in and then Frost buried it? It was one of those. It was one of those games where he just took the puck along the blue line into the zone a little bit, and
the skating when he was in the zone, when he was like shuffling between 3 guys and just got the puck across was
so
a beauty.
If they're confident in Drysdale, I think that could allow them to bring up Andrae rather than a Helge Grans, and they won't have to, quote unquote, shield or shelter both Drysdale and Andrae. They can, play them both.
Well, I don't think Andrae needs as much sheltering, as funny as that sounds, but
hey. I don't either. That's why I put it. That's why I put it, quote unquote, because that was one of the points I brought up when he was first sent down, and then I looked at the numbers more. I was like, oh, he's not that sheltered. Like, so I don't know what the Flyers are doing there.
Do you, if there is a Risto trade, would you rather retain salary or take a contract back?
What kind of contract is it? Is it like a Ryan Johansson where it's just like on the books and he won't play? Is it like a guy you can bury? Is it like
it's got 1 year left? Let's say it's got 1 year left and there's like 3.5 million.
Like a bottom pair defenseman. Yeah, I would rather take that. I'm not retaining on Risto. Like, the Flyers have gotten to a point where they don't have to retain. I guess the bigger question would be, would you take a first or would you take a second with retaining?
I wouldn't retain.
Or no, the opposite there. Well, opposite. Retain to get a first or take a second? I think you just hold him at that point, though. You just hold him
keep
him the offseason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the cap is going to go up as much as we think it is, suddenly Risto's contract's not cheap by any means, but like not as much of a burden as it would be right now. I think it's going to happen in the offseason. I feel like that's what's going to happen. But hey, if some GM is silly enough to be like, I got to have Rasmus Ristolainen and just knocks Danny's socks off, go for it. Why not?
Yeah, but also, like, they don't even have to trade him in the offseason. Like, they can go into the season with him. I mean, they have York Sanheim top pair. They can go Andrae, Ristolainen second pair, Sealer, Drysdale third pair, and let Bonk compete. Let's see what he can do. Maybe he does need some AHL experience to, round out his game a little bit. See if he can get those even strike points. See if that bumper position still works at the AHL level, let alone the NHL level. Like, I know
He
fans are clamoring for Oliver Bonk, but I'm happy to be a little bit patient with him.
Sure, and he certainly doesn't need any more time on the World Juniors Canada roster. Another part of Briere's presser was he basically was like, "Yeah, we weren't at all happy with how they utilized Bonk and Barkey on that roster, or Luchenko, excuse me, on that roster, because Barkey didn't make it for some reason. That was dumb." But yeah, Briere did not mince words about the usage of the Flyers prospects on that team.
I mean, we talked about it. Jet Luchenko scored that one goal and wasn't used in a shootout. Like, he was used very much in a role player position, and he had the speed, he has the skill. He was just, I guess he's not one of the older guys, so he was down the lineup. But Hockey Canada needs an overhaul there. Just
I think
around.
Berkeley Catton got two attempts at the shootout before they lost. Like,
Yeah,
they went back to the same guy twice. It was crazy, but maybe don't be stupid. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else from Briere's presser today that stuck out. Or I guess, like, do we think anyone else is going to get traded besides Risto or anyone at all? And if not, if the Flyers make no trades at this deadline, are you fine with that? And how do you think the fans will react?
Oh boy.
Because there's no obvious moves. We talked about it like all year long. Like, Risto, sure, maybe. Frost, maybe. Lawton, maybe. Farabee, maybe. I don't want to trade Farabee now. I'm not trading Farabee now.
No, of course not. That'd be stupid.
Yeah.
You gotta Farah believe. No, I guess Frost is the only other one that might make sense. They're not going to trade Scott Lund. I kind of hope they don't.
No, they're not.
That's fine. That's great. I was listening to the PHLY podcast before we recorded today, and Charlie made the case like, you don't trade Scott Lawton. You keep him because it helps with player development in a way that this team has struggled for many years. And I'm like, that's an interesting way to think about it. Maybe that's a good reason to keep him. Again, it's intangibles. You don't know if, like, you can't quantify if this is working or not, but hey, it clearly has impacted, like, Owen Tippett, who was like a tweener in Florida and suddenly is at least a 25 goal scorer and probably has the capacity for more. Jamie Drysdale looks like he's coming around. I just remember last year, Jamie Drysdale showed up right before the break, the All-Star break, I think it was, and the team was like, "Yo, Jamie, what are you doing for the break?" And he was like, "Yeah," he was like, "I don't know, probably go see my parents." They're like, "No. And Joel Farabee bought him a ticket to Cancun to join them for their like holiday in Mexico." So there's important aspects for players in that room that we just don't appreciate because we're not there, and all we see is the box scores.
Yeah, that is kind of the one area though where I wish the Flyers kind of made more use of their cap space to sign some veterans to like a 1-year deal where you were going to likely flip them at the deadline, like a Jeff Skinner type. I mean, I know he went to Edmonton or something.
He's been terrible too.
I know he's been someone like that. Someone where it's like, okay, a better veteran presence than that. Like, okay,
Matt Dumba.
Sure, Matt Dumba.
He's been terrible too.
He's been bad too. But like someone like that where you bring him in, competes for a roster spot, pushes the kids a little bit, and if you trade him for a 3rd-round pick at the deadline, perfect. You paid $2 million in cap space for a 3rd-round pick.
Okay, so what? Who comes out? Garnet Hathaway, Ryan Poehling.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's who comes out of the lineup. Like, you look at this lineup when healthy, there was no obvious guy to take out. Maybe you make it a defenseman and you play Zamula less. I guess that would be the one thing I look for. But I guess Johnson is in that role.
Yeah, Johnson is the guy.
To get more assets. Got to
get more assets. Maybe they flip Eric Johnson. You never know.
They're not trading Johnson. He's probably best friends with Danny Briere.
Did you see the clip today of like the reporter at the Flyers rink, and you just see Eric Johnson skating by reading what was the book called? It's
Inner Excellence.
Inner Excellence. Yeah. The AJ Brown. Man, that apparently shot to like #1 bestseller on Amazon that week. So that's real funny. Eagles fans are a different breed, man. It's crazy, but he knows his audience.
Yeah, apparently that's been a thing that Eric Johnson has been doing in the background of those videos for a bit. I think one of them, like last week, he was like on the sitting on his ass on the ice, like spinning around or like canoeing or something. Like, so, Erik Johnson knows he knows his role. He's a veteran leader. He's very happy to just be in the locker room, support the guys, and doesn't want to play. He got to 1,000 games. That's it. He's happy.
Has he played 1,001?
I think he got to 1,001. I think he played 1,000. Got to his 1,002.
1,002.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
there you go. Yeah, he probably retires at the end of this season, I'd have to guess.
Coincidentally, his last game was November 20th, and the next game after that, November 23rd, is the cutoff of when the Flyers' expected goals for numbers really shot up. So, might be a coincidence, might be a Flyers were tanking, trying to get Erik Johnson to his milestone. But the Flyers also had injuries during that point, so that's likely a coincidence.
Maybe they thought, they had it too easy last season where they started strong and collapsed at the end.
Yeah.
What if we help, like we tinker and tweak it so that they struggle, and then they have to dig themselves out of a hole to go on a playoff run? Let's see if that makes it happen. So, it was all part of the plan.
Let's give them some adversity early here.
Yeah.
There's one more thing in the show sheet I want to ask you about. You wrote, "Stop asking to see Mike and Kate's on a line together."
Oh yeah, did we not talk about that? My bad.
Not really, no.
Okay. Yeah. Stop.
I mean,
get some help.
I'm very happy with it for now. Keep the lines together, but I think we mentioned it last show. Like, if that Kate's line starts to falter, sure, swap Brink and Michkov. But right now, I looked it up before. Kate's is still the second best line in the league in terms of expected goals for that have played 200 minutes together, just behind the Jordan Staal line in Carolina, ahead of McDavid, ahead of the Beecher line in Boston, ahead of the Austin Matthews line, ahead of any line you can name that's played 200 minutes. They're amazing, and they're playing against top competition.
And you don't tweak that. I don't care how good Kate's has been. You don't mess with that. Also, the whole season we have been begging to see Michkov and Couturier together, and the whole reason they're able to play together now is because the Kate's line is so effective. Like, if the Kate's line falters, sure, go ahead. Say, put Meech there, see if it gives that spark back. But for now, I am more than happy to see him working with Couturier and Farabee. So,
yeah, I mean, keep that together for now. Also, nice to see Michkov might have a new celly, the stick spin. He pulled it out against the Ducks, and I guess he pulled it out there against the Devils as well. So,
sure did.
Good to see there. Him having some fun on the ice, playing with confidence. He's not going to win the Calder, but he's up to 33 points in 45 games. We would have been happy with that plus 10 points in the whole season. So he's still outperforming our expectations.
Hey, he could go on a heater after the break, get some rest in.
Yes.
He's got 4 cellies in his repertoire now. When he first got here, it was just the classic arms out. Then he got the Danny Briere kneel down, scoop up the ice, and throw. What else?
Twirl.
The twirl, and I feel like there was one more that I'm kind of forgetting, but oh well. We'll see. Well, maybe next year he'll settle on a celly.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe hopefully we get to see it a few times this week. The Flyers are playing 3 games in the next 4 days here, starting on Tuesday night here against the Red Wings. You got a prediction for this one?
Ooh, well, there's no Scott Laughton, so we're not getting 4 goals.
Correct. Red Wings at the end of a road trip. They won in Florida 5-2, lost in Tampa 5-1, lost in Dallas 4-1, and now end of the road trip here in Philly.
Who do we have in net tonight? Is it Cam?
We got Erson. Oh, for
them. Cam
Talbot.
It looks like.
I mean, it's a revenge game either way. No, it's Alex Lyon. I'm seeing confirmed here.
Oh, Alex Lyon's in.
Yeah.
Dang. I don't like our odds then. The Flyers' revenge is strong. Well, this is going to be close. I feel like the Flyers are going to win it because they're flying high right now. It's going to be tight. 4-2 with the empty netter, but it's going to be down to the wire. 3-2, and Detroit is going to be hounding
Mhm.
them. So I'd say a very close 4-2. I'm bummed I'm not going to get to see most of the games. So hopefully I can see the end of it.
Yeah. I'm seeing a 4-3 or no 3-2 overtime win. Let's get Michkov with the winner, and let's see what
Nice.
Selly pulls out.
Are you going tonight?
I am going tonight. I have not bought tickets
Nice.
yet, but I've seen ticket prices have been going down. It's an Arctic freeze out there. I live a mile from the stadium, so it doesn't
Yep.
bother me as much.
Have you got your outfit?
I'm just wearing my normal. Oh, what I have on right now? Is that what you're saying?
No, for the Pride
For
game.
the Pride night game? No, I don't have any like long. I have a
Oh,
hockey is for everyone like T-shirt. I have a.
nice.
I might pull out my Pride hat. I don't know what is around here. I
There you
might pull
go.
that. But,
I just wish they would make like the Rainbow Flyers logo jerseys, like the warm-up jerseys that they wore a few years
the ones
ago.
that
I
they
would
can't
buy
wear
them.
anymore. Yeah.
Well, thanks,
Yeah. Exactly.
Mr. 25 or quarter century team defenseman. No, but those would go hard. Honestly, I'm not a Temu kind of person, but if I could find that on Temu or something, I might have to cop it. Anyway, yeah, Thursday at the train station.
At the train station. Rangers have been, a bit better recently, but still
Yeah.
not great. Just lost in Montreal 5-4. They play at home against the Sens tonight. Before the Flyers on Thursday and 2 days off. I don't know. I never feel good about a Rangers game, but the Flyers
They
did look
won.
good against them on Black Friday. So I'll go with another 3-1 win. Get Fedotov back in net.
Really?
He shut them down. Give me a 3-1 win.
Ooh. You think they used Fedotov in the first half of the back-to-back?
I don't know. I have
No.
no idea.
Oh, okay. I think the Rangers get that one. I think they do. It'll be overtime,
That's
and
fine. Get a point. Keep the point streak going.
yeah, keep the point streak going. I'd say overtime loss 4-3.
Okay. All right. And then
Oh, I take that back. 3-2. Shesterkin's back and he's playing well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Friday night on Long Island, 7:30 start there because the Islanders are a second-class organization, and there's competition at 7:00. So,
Oh, can you
what do you got?
believe that? The whole reason the Islanders games start at 7:30 is because the Rangers games always start at 7.
I do believe it. For the one last week, I was like, all right, 7:30, probably an ESPN game. I can put this on ESPN Plus, but nope. It was just pushing it back half hour to torture us.
I don't know. I think the Flyers come out hard.
I think the Flyers come out pretty good in that one.
I don't know who they're gonna get in net. I'd say 4-1. Because the Islanders, well, no, 4-2. The Islanders have figured out how to score, but yeah, 4-2.
Yeah,
Flyers.
I think 4-2 is a good prediction there. Flyers get a few early, tire out late. Islanders get a couple, but 3-2 empty netter, much like your Red Wings prediction. I'm taking that prediction for the
both of those Islanders goals will come on the power play.
Yeah, of course.
Because of course they will.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's do a quick tankathon before we get out of here. Even though the Flyers may be closer to a playoff spot.
Oh God, I just did it on my own, and the Pittsburgh Penguins won. Hopefully, we don't have that. All right, let's go.
Flyers are 10th here, 3.5% at the number 1 overall pick. Let's sim lottery.
Okay,
stayed at 10. Buffalo, Chicago, San Jose. That's fine. That's fine, I guess. Where do we got Colorado and Edmonton currently? Colorado is 22nd. Edmonton
is 31.
Is 30th.
30. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go that far. Just
Edmonton's looking really good though. So
yeah, but Stuart Skinner's not that good. He's not that good.
He's not. So yeah, there's 10 there. We'll get into the draft stuff closer to trade deadline.
Before you close this, I want you to just take a look at the points percentages of the teams from 7 to 12. It's 489, 490, 500, 511, 511, and then 521 and 522 for the Rangers. That is a bunch of teams that are essentially deadlocked, and almost all of them are Eastern Conference teams. This is insanity. It's crazy. Like if the Flyers lose 2 games in a row, they suddenly have the 7th overall pick. It's just they're never going to be as bad as all of those Western teams. And Buffalo, that 14-game losing streak really kind of, there's not much you can do to recover from that. But the Flyers aren't that far away from either a playoff spot or a maybe even a top 5 pick if Seattle figures something out. It's crazy. Love it.
Yeah,
parity, baby.
That's the loser point. Gary loves the loser point there. So yeah, they're gonna be in this. One hot week gets them in there. One bad week gets them into a higher spot there.
Also, the Flyers only have 6 loser points. That's not so bad. I'm like,
yeah, but no, I'm saying some of the teams in there. Islanders have 7, Pittsburgh 8, Utah 7,
the Canucks 10.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
All right, that is gonna do it for us here. Once again, shout out Bet Online. And Joe, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at jfdemarini.bsky.social. I intend to delete my Twitter, especially after all of the bullshit that we just saw in the past 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How about you, Gilbs? Where can they find you?
You can also follow me on Blue Sky at ryangilbert.bsky.social. Make sure you follow the whole Broad Street Hockey crew on there as well. And get in the Broad Street Hockey Discord if you are into that type of stuff. Trying to get that more active in there during games, during stuff there. Hoping to get some good stuff going on.
We recently made it free for all. And
it's a free for all in there. Absolutely. It's a free
for all. Yeah. Unregulated and unmitigated Flyers opinions. Have at it.
Yeah. All right. Until next time. Thanks for listening.
Go Flyers.